welcome once again to Bulletproof. I'm Bob Coleman, your host, guys. Welcome to the program today. It's Bulletproof, the program where you will hear from some of the giants in multi-level marketing as they share their story on how they made it, even when things got a little rough for them like it does for all of us. They kept going. They didn't quit, proving themselves to be bulletproof and won. And today, guys, I'm so excited to have on the program young man I just met about a week or so ago, a few days ago. He was actually here in St. Louis a few days ago. We have an event here. We call it a regional training event. He came in as one of our trainers and one of our guest speakers here in St. Louis. And I'm going to tell you guys, it was a phenomenal event. He really laid down a lot of great knowledge for the participants that were there. And what made the day work for me, or what made the day rewarding for me, was I got the chance to hang out with this gentleman after the event and get to know him a little better. You know, I tell people all the time, you can only be strangers once. And so we conquered that hurdle, so we can never be strangers again. And so having said all that, I'd like to welcome Mr. Coleman Martin to the call. Welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And I appreciate you being on the program. You know, this program is called Bulletproof. You are a giant in multi-level marketing, and we always start by allowing the guests to introduce yourself to the show. Tell people a little bit about you.
Well, how's everybody doing? My name is, Coleman Martin, and I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. I was raised out of Brooklyn, New York, and that's where it all kind of, began. I went through the regular schooling system, and after going through graduating high school in New York, I made the transition to Baltimore, Maryland, to attend college. And, I was very involved in school. I thought that was the path that was going to lead to my destiny, lead to success. And after a couple of years of, after postgraduate life, I just realized that I wasn't going down the path I really wanted to go down. So I really started opening up my mind. And that's when I got into the network marketing industry. It was around that time period right then and there.
You said something quite interesting. You said that, after graduating, college and you felt like there was something more. Can you go a little deeper with that for those who maybe, because I don't think you're the only ones who ever feel that way. And so what makes you feel like there was more?
Well, here's how exactly happened. So I got a degree in biology, and I started going to grad school. And during the midst of that, literally I was not able to find a job in my field for nothing. And it took me probably about 6 months to find a job, and I was working for collections, where I pretty much was calling people to collect debt. And that wasn't a job that you needed a degree for at all. And it's so interesting because I remember one specific call till this day. That had to have happened back in 2011, but till this day, I still remember this one phone call that I made to a gentleman that was a lawyer. And, I was calling him because he had owed a pretty significant debt. And he was like, look, I can't find a job. And it was at that point where it really hit me like, wow, because I know for me growing up, being a lawyer was such a prominent job, prominent career path. And here this man was not able to pay this debt after attending law school and going down that path. And I never forgot that. And that was a job I really hated. And then like a few months later, I finally found a quote unquote entry-level job where you need a degree, but still had nothing to do with my degree. But, in the very beginning of me having that job, I was grateful because, at least started having a job that could start paying bills and student loans and things like that. But after a couple of years of being there, reality kind of sat in that this isn't really what I dreamed of being at. I was looking around the office, nobody was really happy and fulfilled, and I felt like I was settling. It just felt absolutely wrong. And I had a couple of friends in my life that were entrepreneurs, and they were reading books and building businesses and things like that. And kind of from the outside looking into their lives, I knew that there was something more, and I just started asking them questions like, hey, what got you down this path? Why do you read these books? and they were kind of just sharing these nuggets about, financial freedom and developing the right mindset and really going after your goals. And I started reading these books, and I'll never forget, one book that my friend referred to was called Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And that was the first ever personal development book that I've ever read in my entire life, because to be honest with you, I wasn't a big reader. I didn't like to read. I used to force myself to read for school. But when I picked that book up, I fell in love with personal growth. I could not put that book down. And that's not a small book. That book is literally as big as the Bible, if not bigger. But it was like everything in that book it was like soaking into my DNA. It just kind of showed me so much more. It gave me a different perspective on life. And that's when my antennas went up. That's when I truly started gaining the confidence of being able to change my life. And that's when I started just pretty much looking for different entrepreneurial opportunities. I started looking for things that can kind of create freedom. And at first I was dabbling in a real estate investment business that I had created. And then I had this bright idea of quitting my job a few months after creating that business. And I would never tell anybody to do that, but I was so excited about being free and being an entrepreneur that I was willing to do everything it took by any means necessary.
Wow, our paths are so similar there, because I can definitely identify with walking away and quitting your job based on being an entrepreneur. So you were introduced to you found World Ventures.
Yeah.
And so tell us about that journey. How that all started for you.
So the very day after I quit my job, I quit my job August 2nd, 2013, and the very next day, August 3rd, 2013, one of my friends, that were already entrepreneurs, that was kind of, just kind of teaching me a lot of different, mindset things and different ideas about how I can build myself up to be an entrepreneur. He was actually the one that shared this idea with me. My friend, he named Ferdinand, and he shows me the business, and I liked it. And to be honest with you, I had another fraternity brother that became $1 million earner in network marketing in a totally different company. So I knew the industry worked. I knew what it could do for people's lives. But for the first time, I actually saw a network marketing company that it was attached to a product that I can actually be excited about, which was travel. And travel is definitely something that I wanted to do anyways, whether there was a compensation plan attached to it or not. But to be very honest, it wasn't really the best time because, again, I had just quit my job the very day before, and I didn't really make any money in my real estate investment company yet. So I almost told him that I should wait. I should look for a more convenient time. But it's one thing that he really shared with me that made me pull the trigger, and he gave me fear of loss. He really painted the vision on where he was going to go with this thing and all the people that he was going to share this thing with, and I didn't want to miss out. So that's what allowed me to get started on the spot, and that's how I got closed into the industry. And, what I will say is it wasn't like I got it in the very beginning. I was trying to do it my own way. I was making tons of mistakes. I was trying to explain it instead of, actually inviting people to see the information. You know how the system goes. Mm-hmm. And after a week of just not being coachable and not following the system and seeing my sponsors, seeing other people in the company, building the business like wildfire, I had to really come to terms that, okay, I need to really attach myself to people that know what they're doing. I need to pay attention to the system that's already working. I need to not, reinvent the wheel. And that's when I became aware, and that's when I really started plugging into the system. And then from there, from plugging into the system, that's when I started getting some traction in this business and started growing.
Wow. The name of this program is called Bulletproof. And can you share with the listening audience a time within your journey where your back was up against the wall in reference to your World Ventures business, when you just didn't feel like it anymore? You didn't feel like it wasn't clicking, it wasn't working for you. However, you kept going, proving yourself to be bulletproof.
Yeah. So if I can kind of think of time, man, it was probably about a year ago. when the company was going through, a little bit of challenges. And, what's so interesting, I've seen a good bulk of my fraternity brother that became $1 million earner in his company. I've seen a good bulk of his journey, and I've seen the ups and the downs, and I've seen everything that he had to go through to get to that point of success. But when you're going through those ups and downs, it's just totally different from you reading about it and seeing about it in other people's lives. So, the company was going through some challenges, and in the midst of that challenge, I was seeing some leaders kind of jumping ship and going different directions. And, of course, my business was just like, it just was not going in the best direction. And I didn't know what to do. I've never personally experienced that before. And I didn't know what was going to happen next, to be quite honest. But that's when I honestly got closer to God. That's when I prayed the most. That's when I went to church the most. And that's when I really, and it wasn't just because of business per se, but that's when I really just wanted more just clarity on just like who I am, who am I, and where am I meant to go really as just a man, as a person, as a spirit. But it was in the midst of that chaos where, although it wasn't the most exciting entrepreneur-wise, but it was the most fulfilling because that's when I got filled up spiritually. And lo and behold, after going through that storm, I got stronger. Mentally, I got stronger. Emotionally, I got stronger. Spiritually, I got stronger. And business, picked back up. And what I would say, because of that situation, we were able to build a stronger foundation, And the thing is, some people left and then more people came, but I truly believe through the midst of storms and chaos, just it's meant to happen, and the weak leaves will fall off, and the branches in the trunk will get stronger.
Wow. Awesome. Being a baby boomer, and what is it that, because I think you're Generation X, is that right?
I'm 31 years old. I don't know which bracket do I fall into.
Yeah, Generation X. So,
okay.
Being that, what is it that you guys, people in your generation, what is it that you guys want when it comes to success, when it comes to success?
Mm-hmm. I think lifestyle is a really big thing. I think we want the ability to live life, and actually enjoy it and be fulfilled. I believe that's honestly the most important thing. We want freedom. We don't want to go to work to a place where we don't really want to be at, and we want to have the time and the money to do whatever we want. Like, traveling is definitely a huge thing in this time, where just all across the board, especially I guess you could say people in my generation, like traveling is huge. But what are the two main factors that allow people to travel? Time and money. So it's lifestyle. People really want to live that life. They want to be able to live life to the fullest.
Awesome. Let me ask you this, and not that you haven't been, because I know that you have been 100%, but I'm going to ask you this for the sake of this interview, and that is, has World Ventures really and truly given you the opportunity for what you just mentioned, time freedom and financial freedom? Has it been that vehicle for you?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That is so true. We appreciate that. If you had to give advice to someone, and you do a great job, you just gave a lot of advice here in St. Louis for 5 or 6 hours during the regional training event. You were awesome on stage. The information that you shared was just unbelievable. But for the sake of this platform, if you had to give some advice to someone who's looking to get involved in this industry, what advice would you give them?
If I can give advice in terms of somebody coming to the industry, you got to have a long-term mindset. You know, the reality is a lot of people that come into this industry, they come from, you know, a W-2 or a job mindset. You know, and that was like how I was. You know, you're used to going to work, and every 2 weeks or every week you get a paycheck. And with a business like this, and honestly most entrepreneurial endeavors, you got to have a long-term mindset. It's a build, you know. So in the very beginning, you may be, you know, overworked and underpaid, but eventually it starts to flip. After you put in work consistently and you persevere, eventually you start becoming overpaid and underworked. But the thing is, a lot of people never reach that point of success because they can't get over the fact in the beginning that you're overworked and underpaid. And that's really what holds people back from freedom as a whole, because you got to make that mental transition from having a W-2 mindset to an entrepreneurial mindset, to a true professional network marketing mindset. You got to build it up. And, yeah, it may not be easy. Yeah, it may not happen overnight. But what I promise you, it is absolutely worth it when you pay the price to get to this other side.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, we know that your journey is full of success, futuristically speaking. Like I said, got a chance to meet you last weekend. You're just an awesome, awesome guy. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate your leadership within the company.
I appreciate that, Bob. It's been a blessing to meet you and get to know you, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on the show today, guys. That's how we do it here on Bulletproof, guys. Always remember that if you believe you can't, you're right, you won't. If you believe that it's impossible, you're right. It is impossible. We know that success is based on laws and not luck. And always remember, guys, in all you're getting, get bulletproof. Have a good day.